Hi everyone, this is Cameron, also known as the Knitty Meggins, and I am here with today's podcast. So thank you for coming back. If you are a returning viewer, if you are a new viewer, thank you for coming and checking out my channel. My name is Cameron, and I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom to 4 children, and I also love to knit. I've been knitting for a little over a year, like solidly, consistently knitting for about a year now, a little over. And this is just my journey of knitting and homeschooling and crazy life with 2 noodles and some yarn in my hands. So today I'm joining you from my bathroom. That is because Friday is co-op day for us. If you don't know much about the homeschooling community, you may not know what co-op is. So just briefly, our co-op meets every week on Friday mornings. We meet from about 9 to noon, and we spend that time. Each grade level meets for 3 class periods. We have multiple classes per class period for each grade range. There's normally 2 or 3 options per grade level. And so today was our day to go to co-op. And so typically on co-op Fridays, it's really kind of chaotic. We have a lot going on. We typically have friends come over. Today we ended up going to lunch with a bunch of friends at Chick-fil-A, and we were there until like 2:30. And as soon as we got home, we had some of the kids' friends were waiting in our driveway wanting to play. So I'm doing this in the bathroom. So I'm sorry if it's a little echoey. I meant to film this yesterday, and yesterday ended up being so chaotic. My husband's been traveling a lot, and he was traveling yesterday, so I was trying to keep my phone, which is what I used to record, freed up so that if he needed me, he could contact me. He's still traveling today. He comes home tonight, but I don't think he's going to need to contact me. He's in some meetings today, so that should leave me some time to do a video real quick. So there's that. That's why it's being recorded on a Friday in my bathroom, and why I'm kind of still ponytailed, and I teach very physically active classes 2 out of 3 periods. I have kindergartners 2nd period and 1st and 2nd graders 3rd period. So I have to dress very comfortably and keep my hair typically pulled back because we move around a lot. So that being said, where to find me. If you have not watched before, or maybe you just weren't paying attention, forgot, whatever you want to do, you can find me, like I said, as the Knitty Meggins. I am on Facebook, Ravelry, Instagram, all under the Knitty Meggins. So feel free to catch up with me in any of those places. I always like seeing what other knitters are up to and what you're creating, and I love seeing what combinations people put together as far as patterns and yarns. And it also helps me learn about patterns that I might otherwise not have known about, or indie dyers. I love learning about new indie dyers. I like to support them as much as I can because I know a lot of them are just supporting their family or just have a really big passion. So I love finding new indie dyers, and I love finding new patterns on Ravelry from knitwear designers that I might not have realized were out there beforehand. So yeah, go ahead and keep in touch with me because I love, love, love to see what other people are creating and learn about new things. So yeah. So this week should be pretty short overall. I'm trying to make sure I have my basket of stuff. And I believe I have the wrong notebook in here with me. I do. The wrong notebook that I had my notes in, but that's okay. I'll wing it. Because I'm afraid if I take too long, I'm going to get interrupted and we're going to have problems. So I'll go ahead and get started. So we can start with finished objects. It has actually been a really slow 2 weeks for me. I haven't gotten a lot finished, pretty much because I've put a lot of time into a project that's taking me more time than usual. And I'll get to that later in the works in progress. But as far as finished projects go, this was a work in progress last video. It is completed, and I love, love, love how this came out. So this is the Spindrift Shawl by Curious Handmade, I believe. I loved working on this pattern. It is a paid pattern. I do not recall off the top of my head how much it was. It was not very much. But I absolutely love it. The yarn that I used is by Smooshy with Cashmere by Dream in Color. And it was in the colorway Mermaid Shoes. I was able to complete this using one hank of yarn. There was a teeny tiny ball left over that I donated to my friend Erica. And she's got that for her scrap blanket. But yes, I just absolutely love how it kind of looks like. It makes me think of in Mary Poppins when he does the chalk art on the road or on the sidewalks, and it starts to rain and everything kind of starts to smear all the colors. It's kind of what it makes me think of, is something like that. I really love this eyelet area down here at the bottom in the teeny tiny picot edge. And this is my first time to do a picot bind off, and it took me a good while to get it done. It took me longer than I had anticipated, but part of that was because I just was not feeling great when I went to go do it. So I was going slow to make sure that I didn't completely botch it. So I love this, and it does have cashmere in the yarn, and so it is crazy, crazy soft. I don't remember if I still have the ball band in. I do. I see it in there. So this is the ball band. There we go. Smooshy with Cashmere by Dream. It is 70% superwash merino wool, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon. Hand dyed in the USA. And yes, color 515, mermaid shoes. If it will. Nope. Anyway, and I bought this yarn just on a whim at my, I guess you can call it, local yarn store. It's about a 30-minute drive for me, but it happens to be the biggest yarn store in the state of Texas, last I heard. So unless somebody has recently opened one, it should still be the largest, and that is Fiber Circle in Farmersville, Texas. So I'm not in Farmersville personally, but it's not that big of a drive for me to get there, and Diane has a wonderful store. So if you're ever near Farmersville, Texas, feel free to check her out. Her store typically is open more towards the weekends, but you can always check her Facebook page or the website. I can link both below. If you ever get a chance to visit, it is an absolutely fantastic shop. The next time I go, I'll have to take some video of the inside. So this is my one FO. Work in progress, I have multiple, and most of them are the ones that I talked about last week, and one new one which has, like I said, gotten the bulk of my attention. So one is a cowl that I am working on. I am test knitting it. I don't know how much I should or shouldn't say about it. I'm just going to give you a little peek, nothing too in-depth. That's it. So when this is finished, I will be glad to talk more about it once I have checked with the designer and I know more about what I can and cannot say, or what she would prefer for me to say or not say. But I can tell you, and I will talk about this more once it's completed, and I feel more confident giving more information about it. But this is going to be a cowl, and it is a more, I'm trying to think of the correct word to use because I don't want to use the wrong word. It is a more detailed pattern than what I am accustomed to doing, just because there is a lot of counting, which I don't necessarily mind. It's just something that it's incredibly hard for me to do. I know my own limitations with my ADD. It is incredibly hard for me to make sure that I'm keeping the correct count. When the kids are running around, or the other night I was working on this, and I had even told my husband, who thankfully does not have ADD as badly as I do. But he said, "Do you mind if I watch TV?" And I said, "No, that's fine. I'm just going to sit over here and work on the cowl." The kids had gone to bed, and I felt confident in doing that. And he said, "Okay." And I was in the middle of counting the number of stitches that I was working on, and all of a sudden I hear, you know, welcome back to the Rangers game. It's bottom of the 8th, 2 balls, and I'm going, numbers, numbers, numbers. I can't concentrate. They're saying numbers. But I do keep a set of earbuds near me almost all the time. And I love thunderstorms. And so what I ended up doing was I looked at him and I just said, I love you. But I can't listen to them talk about numbers when I'm having to keep track of my own numbers. So I'm going to stay on the couch and hang out with you. You watch your ball game. If you need me, just tap my foot, because I had my feet up on the couch. And so I'm going to put my earbuds in and listen to a rainstorm, so it kind of blocks out those numbers and I can pay more attention to what I'm doing. And then the yarn that I am currently using is called Lady of the Lake. And it is on the Tristan base, which is 100% superwash merino sport weight. And it is by Round Table Yarns. And this is a wonderful, wonderful yarn. And this is by a fellow Texan who dyes this yarn. She is also in the DFW area. So if you are ever at the Knitting Fairy in Grand Prairie, I know they carry her yarn. And she also has an online storefront that you can visit. She just closed. I meant to post this video yesterday, so I could have maybe referred more people. But she does have a yarn club. It closed its openings yesterday, if that makes sense. She closed it down, I think, this morning, bright and early or really late last night. I'm not sure when she did it. But she does have yarn clubs that run for about 4-month periods. And they each have their own theme, and they each have, they're kind of like their own stories and everything that go along with it. It's really neat. This is going to actually be my first time. But I have multiple skeins of her yarn. It's all wonderful. I've loved everything about it. And what I like about it is that I love Arthurian legends. I just love anything from that time period. I'm obsessed, and I've been that way my whole life. And so what I really like is, you know, like this. I'll show you the band. I'm going to get this straight one day. So it tells you, you know, Lady of the Lake, and when you open up the ball band, it will actually give you the story behind the name. And this is in all of her yarns. And I also have several of her patterns. She's has a lot of really great patterns. You can find them under Karen Dawn Designs on Ravelry. And I have multiple. I have the Don't Blink scarf and hat patterns. I have a book of shawlette patterns. And the book goes through an entire story as you go to each of the shawls. Each shawl has a story, and it kind of opens up with a story, and then for each shawl and then a kind of like a belt, each thing has the story that goes along with it and where its name came from and so forth. So that's really, really neat. So I really like her stuff. So that's what this is currently being knit with. So I'm going to put that. And it's in my little owl project bag that I got at Rose Path Weaving on the outskirts of Tyler. Pretty much where 69 and 20 intersect. There's a little farm to market road, and that's where you can find them. And I visited them during the yarn crawl, and that's where I got this bag. And I have to say, so far, this is one of my top 2 bags. My other favorite bag is just right over here with something else in it. So this is one work in project, and this work in progress, and this is getting the absolute bulk of my attention right now, because it is a test knit, and I want to finish it in a timely manner. I've just realized that if kids are up and running around, just work on something else, because I'm going to lose count. I had to rip it out and restart it so many times. My other work in progress, I don't know if you can technically consider it a work in progress. I have just cast on earlier today. Normally I have my first period off at co-op and I can kind of hang out, but today I was needed in a classroom as an assistant. So, hold on. Okay, so my second work in progress is in one of my other favorite bags. And it is my Yarn Pop Owl bag. And if I flip it around, you can see that I have 2-stitch row counters attached in progress keepers on this bag. And I'm not using it right now, but it also has these grommets in it. So if you want to, and I have done it before, I just had to get up and run after my daughter. It's why I'm out of breath, sorry. You can actually feed your yarn through this, and the zipper is one that when you go to put your project back in, if you leave the yarn kind of over here on the edge of the zipper, you can close it up and it's not going to snag your yarn at all. And I typically do that, but with the socks, the last time I tried to feed it through here and work on it, it just didn't work out so good for me. So, I have freshly cast on earlier today. You can see there's not much there. The very beginning for 2 at a time toe up socks, and these will be for my husband, and I do not remember the yarn. Sorry, but this is what it looks like. They will be wool socks for his winter socks. He's going to get 2 pairs of socks at least, and then a scarf that I need to work on. And this is going to be, I'm going to look up the name of the pattern. Nurturing Fibers Vanilla Socks with Toe Up with Afterthought Heel. I don't remember if this is a paid for pattern or not. So I hate to show too much of it, but this is the front. And that's what I cast on earlier today. Like I mentioned, today was co-op day, and so typically in first period I'm a floater, and they've never needed me before. And so I took work thinking that I would be able to work on a project during first period. And a friend of mine who teaches irresponsible science, which is a fun class, needed help teaching. She needed an assistant in her class today. Her assistant was ill. And so I went up there and I helped in her class, which was a lot of fun. We talked about inertia and center of gravity. So that was fun. So anyway, that's what I ended up doing. Trying to see what else I have running around in here. So my other project that I'm working on, number 3 of 4, is in this bag that I got off of Amazon. I thought it was going to be much smaller and could just be a Notions pouch. It's far too big for that. It can hold an entire small project. So currently it is housing this, which is yarn from Twisted Owl. And it has my cute Pinkie Pie marker on it. And it is on the wrong size needles. And I thought I could maybe fudge it, but I realized not so much. And I needed the correct size needles are in the cowl right now. And since that's getting the bulk of my attention, I didn't see the point in getting an extra set. I knew I could get an extra set for fairly inexpensively, but I didn't want to and then be tempted with this when I really needed to be working on the cowl. So this has been completely put in timeout. But as soon as I finish the cowl and I get the needles out of that, then they will almost immediately get put on this. And this is going to be Hermione's Cable and Eyelet Hat by JL Yarnworks. I believe this is a free pattern. And that's what it will look like. And it is, I believe, patterned after kind of what she thought it would, how it would be made after she saw it for the Half-Blood Prince. I don't know if it says. Yes, here's my interpretation of Hermione's hat in the upcoming Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And it is from back in 2008, so, you know, it is an older pattern. And she goes through and she has a lot of notes and everything about it. I am a huge Potterhead, if you can't tell. Absolutely adore Harry Potter, and Half-Blood Prince is actually one of my very favorites out of the series. And so I thought, well, what better hat to make than one that was made after Half-Blood Prince. So there is that. And then this is holding, it looks like it's massive. It's really not. It looks sort of deceiving. And I love this bag. I got this off of Etsy. And it says, yes, I made it. And no, I don't know how long it took. Because I get asked that a lot. Well, how long did it take? Well, this took like a week. week-ish. I don't remember exactly how many days this took. But making it in a week could mean that I sat there for several hours every single day working extensively on it. A week could mean I worked on it like an hour a day and finished it. Saying a week doesn't seem, like I can't give you a more definite answer than that. So this, take that out. This has like a big, doesn't even there. This has, my big ball of rainbow themed yarn down in there. And a second cake of this gray yarn is down in here. So it's pretty full. Most of them are the little bitty, like this size. And this poor yarn has really been put through the gamut. But this bag went with me into Chick-fil-A earlier at lunchtime. Because it's really easy to work on. It's like I'm pulling out Chick-fil-A straws and stuff. I don't know if the pattern ever made it back in here. I don't see it. It's probably sitting on the seat of my car. Anyway, this is being used to make a blanket similar to a pattern that is by Tin Can Knits. Flyaway blanket, I believe is the name of it. I will double check that before I post the link. Anyway, I had, the yarn is, all of the yarn is by Extra Ann on Etsy. And it is really soft, and she has incredibly fast shipping time. But I had originally intended doing a mitered square blanket, and so I started a mitered square blanket with it, and I made a few squares, and then I realized I wanted to make a certain design with the mitered squares, and for the life of me, my brain was too fried to make it work, so I pulled everything out. Then I decided I was going to do Mina Phillips pinwheel blanket. And so I bought the pattern, and I had almost completed an entire block of the pinwheel blanket. And it was great, and the pattern is great. I'm a fan of Mina's patterns. I made the Sugar Plum Shawl earlier in the summer. And she writes great patterns. And she is recently announced she's expecting, so congratulations, Mina. I'm excited for you, and I'm enjoying watching all of the baby knitwear that you're working on. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I was working on that, but I made a mistake, and it has a lot of short, like German short rows, and I went to go pull it back, and it just turned into one big tangled mess, and I was like, this is the story of my life. Anything I work on has to be incredibly, 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 incredibly basic right now, because of life with my children. So, I ended up pulling it out and thought I will work on this when they are a little bit older and I can work short rows without somebody coming in and me losing my place, and where my ADD is not so all over the place. I'm weird. A lot of people thrive in summer and warmth and sunshine and get like seasonal depression when it's cold and wintry and dark and damp and gray and rainy. And I have seasonal depression in the summer because I hate sunshiny and bright and hot. And my ADD and my anxiety flare up the worst in the summertime. And in Texas, we get a whole lot of summer. Our main season is summer. Summer lasts for more of the year than not. It doesn't care if you tell it it's spring. It thinks it's summer. In summer, it's really, really summer. And in fall, it still might be summer. So I live in the wrong part of the country and the world. I don't know. I thrive and feel the most at peace and relaxed when it is cold, rainy, gray, like fall, really good, cold, cool fall, winter. That's when I do my best. And I have less problems with ADD, and I have less problems with anxiety, and I'm able to sit down and be more at peace and more focused. And I'm anxiously awaiting for that to hit Texas because I am really ready for it too. I told my husband the other day, we live in the wrong part of the country. Take me to Alaska. I don't care if it's dark more often than not. So this will be the Tin Can Knits. I really think it's Flyaway. I believe it's like a $5 pattern. But essentially what you do is you make several squares and then you seam them together. I don't want to give too much about the pattern away, but making bigger blocks and putting them to the side, just one big block without doing any short rows or anything. I had been thinking about that to myself. I kept thinking, it probably would be easier for me just to make a really big square on the bias and stitch those bad boys together and call it good. And that would probably be so much easier for me than mitered squares or the short row pinwheel triangles. Both are great patterns and I love the look of both. It's just right now I think my brain needs big on the bias squares that you seam together. And of course theirs has a border. I don't know for sure if I'll go back and do a border on mine because I'm lazy and it's for me. So but so far I have this one gray beginning. Excuse my little markers that are in here. I was showing to a friend who just started knitting about these types of markers. So this is what I'm currently doing. And I'm using a different yarn and different size needles than what Tin Can Knits suggests for the blanket. But I already had this yarn and I already knew I wanted to make it into like a little lap blanket for when I'm sitting and knitting on the couch and I just want something over my legs. And I kind of wanted this gray with the rainbowy colors to kind of make it look like a rainbow breaking through the clouds. So that's what this will eventually turn into at some point in time. But this happened at Chick-fil-A during lunch, just between checking on kids, because we had a ton of kids up there today. And if you are interested in the needle pouch, I absolutely love this. I have one for the circular needles as well. I don't know if it's actually in here because I've been very lax about, oh, it is. So this is for the circular needles. This is for your double pointed needles. I love both of these. These are both from Knitting I Love. I don't know if that'll focus. Maybe. Definitely check her stuff out. It's Barbara. She is in Ireland, which is why I picked green, because I was like, oh, if it's coming from Ireland, I don't know. Ireland, you think green. I definitely want to order more of her pouches because I love them and I use them all the time. This one, like I said, I've kind of slacked on. This tends to work better for me when I'm using a bigger set of circular needles, and since I'm just using a 16-inch currently, it's really kind of too short with all the stitches already on the needles to really use this effectively. But I do love this. I used this when I was working on my shawl. So yeah, this is from Knitting I Love. She's got a great podcast. I love watching her. She's one of my, I hate to sound partial, but she's one of my favorites. I have a top 3 and she is in the top 3. Easily. And I can't even rank 1 to 3. I just have 3 that the minute they do a video, I have to watch it. Anyway, I have these from her and I love them. And you should totally check out her podcast and check out her stitch markers and her needle pouches because they are fabulous and I love them. And I want to order more. So yeah. If you're like me and you haven't been into watching a lot of podcasts lately, definitely check out. And there's lots of fabulous ones. I love a lot of them. The 3 that I just tend to gravitate to the most are T-shirts and shawls, which is Karen, who does Roundtable Yarns, and Karen Dawn Designs, and Barbara with Knitting I Love, and Mina Phillip, who is also known as the Knitting Expat. And if you have found me, odds are you already know the 3 of them exist quite well, but if you for some reason don't, definitely check out their podcasts because they're great. They're great ladies, and I just love, anytime I watch their podcasts, I watch with a pen and a piece of paper. Just because I know they're going to bring up a yarn or a pattern that I definitely want to check into. So, and then going from that into stash enhancement. I have 5 new skeins of yarn, or hanks, whatever you want to call them. And I love the story behind these, so I'm going to share them and be a little sappy for a minute. My husband fully supports my knitting. He knows that it brings a lot of peace and calm into my life, which is understandably and for the most part joyfully chaotic. It's, you know, life with 4 young children. I was an only child. My mom was an only child. Her mom was an only child. I come from a long line of only children, and my father has 1 sibling, and that's it. And so, and of course, we were all public school kids. We don't have any problems with public schools or anything like that. So going into marriage, children was something that was important to the 2 of us, but we thought we would have 1, maybe 2. And of course, we thought we would both work, and we would both, you know, have kids in schools, and that was just going to be our life. And we had 2 children. Well, we had our first, and then we felt extremely blessed and lucky to have our second. And then we really didn't count on having a third, and she came, which is great. And then completely and utterly out of the blue, the 4th one came. We were completely not expecting that at all. She was a major surprise. And we ended up deciding to homeschool for various reasons. And again, not that we hate the school system. We think it's great. It just, for us, we decided homeschooling was a better fit for now. And it was kind of in the midst of all of that, I started knitting. And it really, really, even my doctors have mentioned that they really can tell a difference pre-knitting versus post-knitting. My ability to maintain without the use of medication, or if I do need medicine, it's typically a very low dose for a very short period of time. I see someone coming in here. I see 2 someones coming in here. You do not have pants on, so you need to stay back on that side of the camera. Okay? Sorry. We don't like pants in this house, apparently. Hi, Bella. So
I haven't worn the socks for years.
Yeah. So my husband's very supportive, going back to that. He is very, very supportive of my knitting.
That's constant.
Okay. And, but he's never really gotten so into it that he's bought anything for knitting. His comment around Christmas time of last year was, I'm not going to buy anything for knitting because you've gotten into so many hobbies before, and I spend a lot of money helping you support that hobby. And I get that. That's happened a few times before with a few different things that I still enjoy. I just don't do as often. But I guess he's realized that knitting is not going anywhere, and so therefore he is perfectly fine starting to support and buy things. So, like I said, he travels a lot, and he went on a trip to Missouri recently and came back, and he gave stuff to all of the kids and then went to bed. And then when I came to bed, I found all of this on my pillow that he had bought while at a store in Missouri. And I don't have the card with me. If I can find it, I will post it below the information for the store. It's essentially 2 stores under 1 roof. So he said he bought some of the yarn from one and some of the yarn from the other, but I don't know which one came from which of the 2 under the same roof. Can you please go in the other room while I finish this? I have a friend that decided to join me. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay, so can we talk to them about the yarn that Daddy bought me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which one do you think? Here, I'm going to put them all right here, and you decide which ones do we show first. So pick, which one do we talk about first?
I want the small one.
The s'more one. The one that my kids have decided is s'more colors. So this is Frolicking Feet. There you go. And it's called Maple Sugar. It's 100% domestic superwash merino. It's got a good amount of yardage in there, 480 yards. And it does remind all of us of like toasty s'mores with the kind of marshmallowy like when you kind of burn the edges of your marshmallow a little bit to make them really good. So my kids call this the s'mores, and it is called, does it have a name? Somebody said like coffee, oh, maple sugar. I think I said that already. Somebody else said it looked like coffee and cream. So anyway, I'm not sure what this is going to be yet, but it will be fabulous, and it's really soft.
Let's name it small.
Let's name it s'more. Okay. What yarn are we going to talk about next? This one.
That sounds soft.
This one's soft?
Oh.
They all are. Okay, hold on. We'll get to this one next. So we have this one, this opal sock yarn. And there's the information on the back, if it will focus at all. Maybe not. So definitely some socks going to be made out of this. This is gorgeous. And then this next. And then he cracked me up with this. He got me 2 of the same color, which is fine. That's not what made me laugh. No, you can't do that. You can't yank on her like that. I'm not even sure how to say this. Machita?
Cheetah.
And it's by Malabrigo. And it was so cute because he got this for me. He goes, is Malabrigo good? I was like, yes, baby. Malabrigo's good. You did good. Good job. Good job. Malabrigo's good. Not that the other 2 aren't, but for whatever reason I went, Malabrigo. And he goes, is Malabrigo good or bad? I was like, Malabrigo's good. You did good. So I really like it. And I initially did not even realize that these are the exact same colors. Because this one I think was more flipped around like this for some reason. And I just thought they were completely different colors. But they're the same colorway. So this will be something probably fairly massive. This is 420 yards each. So something big's happening with this. And then the last one is this Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock. And it's Vera colorway. And I love this. And this is one of those things that if I were out looking at yarn, odds of me picking this up on my own is probably fairly slim, to be honest. Same with this. I probably would have never picked these 2 up, but I adore them. I just have a really bad habit of going for the same thing over and over. I have like my go-to colors. Blues and purples are like the go-tos, and grays. So these 2 are something I probably would have never picked up on my own, but I think are absolutely beautiful, and I'm so thankful he bought these for me. So I have not gone and bought anything else because all of this was plenty, I thought, for the last 2 weeks. And there's more coming. I know there's more coming. Not because he's traveling a lot and I expect him to buy me more, but just I know there's more coming. So, and that's leading into my kind of week wrap up, my 2-week wrap up. So just personal stuff. If you want to stop watching now, you're not going to miss anything necessarily knitting related, a little bit, but not a ton. So if you're just more interested in what I have made, what I'm working on, what yarns I've bought, that's pretty much it. So my 2-week in review. The last time I did the video, we had just had our insane trip to Fort Worth. Was that crazy? Mm-hmm. When we got lost? Did you think we would ever get home? No. It was pretty insane. And that weekend, we pretty much just had to unwind. We were pooped. Were we pooped? Mm-mm. Were we knackered? No. I was. So we pretty much took it easy that weekend. I believe the boys may have gone down to the deer lease, or they worked on the deer stand, something like that. Bella, it's okay. Bellatrix Lestrange, it is okay. Then we had a fairly chaotic week the following week, and that was just because it felt like a full moon before it actually became a full moon. We just had a lot of craziness going on, just a lot of crazy moods with the kids, a lot of craziness with trying to get schoolwork done. It was just crazy, wasn't it? You have to stay sitting down because you don't have any bottoms on. Yeah, anyway. We had, at one point, do you remember the day we went to the doctor's? Yeah. They told me that my kids needed well child appointments, my two oldest, and so we went to go do that, and they had been telling me, are you sleepy? I can tell. That my two oldest were going to need blood work done, and then we got there, so I prepared them for that, and if you are a parent, you know how incredibly difficult it is to get your kids ready to give blood. And so we went, and they decided at the last moment, no, they did not need to have lab tests run on their blood or anything. And we went outside, and there was a car parked ridiculously close to mine, to the point where I could not open either doors on the driver's side. So we all, thankfully I was parked against the curb on the passenger side, so we were able to go around, but then had to crawl through the car. I had to crawl over the center console to then drive to the other side of the parking lot to open up the driver's side doors so that I could buckle some of my kids into their car seats. So that was really frustrating. And then we went to Sweet Frogs to get some frozen yogurt, and the website said it opened at 11:30. We got there at like 11:35. They didn't open until around 12. You're safe. You're off camera. So we ended up sitting in the car and waiting because I told the kids we would go to Sweet Frog to make up for getting their blood drawn. And it's not their fault they ended up not needing to get it drawn, so I felt bad taking away their Sweet Frog. So it was just stuff like that all week. It was just it was days like that, just back to back to back to back to back. And my husband, that's, when he was going to Missouri, and he was traveling to Missouri for work, and then he came back home, and him and my son went to the deer release again to prepare and set out the deer stand and the corn feeder and all that good stuff. My stepdad was in town. He was visiting with us for a few days. That was a lot of fun. And then he left, and he stopped and made a pit stop, and then went down back home to where he lives in Louisiana. So that was fun. And then we've pretty much just rushed through this week. This week's been busy. My kids started back to children's choir last Sunday. So they had that Sunday night. They had, I think we just kind of had a just plain school day on Monday. On Tuesday, it was 2 hours of ballet. Yesterday was Wednesday was Awana's. Thursday, my husband left to go to Oklahoma. And we had a bunch of friends over here. That was a lot of fun. We had a blast with that, and the moms were knitters, so they brought their yarn, and they squished on mine and I squished on theirs, and we all looked at each other's patterns and what we're working on, and had a lot of fun, and finished projects and just oohed and awed. So that's always fun when you have knitting friends over. And so that was yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And then last night was pretty wild. Some of my kids did not want to go to bed last night, so we ended up not getting bed until really late, which is part of why under here is so dark today. I feel like Lurch today with the dark. Anyway, so we got up today, and we did co-op, and my husband gets to come home later today, so that will be great. And then he will be home for the weekend doing, I'm not entirely certain what. My son may or may not have a birthday party to go to in a couple of hours. Depends on what his parents end up deciding. And then, yeah, so that's kind of our weekend. And you gotta sit. Can't let anybody see your secret. I did get to sign up for the yarn club, the Poison Apple Yarn Club, through Round Table Yarns, which was good. Here, wrap this around you. Make this your skirt. So that's exciting. So I should probably get my first delivery of her yarn right around my birthday. So that's really exciting. And yeah, pull it down, some sister. Pull it down. Modesty is good. So that's exciting. So I'll be getting that yarn. Next weekend is Stitches, Texas, and I'm planning on going to that with my friend Erica. So that will be a lot of fun. I'm planning on buying stuff for holiday knitting for gifts. I have been storing up yarn all year in colors that I thought would look fantastic on my family. And then ended up everybody pretty much said they want gray, brown, cream, just neutral colors. And I thought, I don't have any of that, save for this that I just got. I don't have anything like that. The creamy brown, I don't have that. And I don't have a lot of gray, and what I do have in gray is already earmarked for projects. So, Bella, no ma'am. So I'm planning on stitches being my Christmas yarn buying, and maybe a couple of project bags or things like that, notions, stuff like that. So I know I'll be getting yarn there. I'm really excited about the Poison Apple Yarn Club. I am so excited. I have not yet seen a yarn from her that I don't like. So I already know that whatever it is, there's like a 99.999% chance I'm absolutely going to love it. And she also gives suggestions because, you know, you can get like 1 skein, 2 skeins, 3 skeins when you sign up. And so she will recommend patterns that'll go good for each shipment of yarn. So I'm looking forward to that. What else? Knit-alongs. I'm not in any. Oh, I'm in one knit-along, and it is the T-shirts and shawls Q3 knit-along. It's for the third quarter knit-along, and it wraps up at the end of the month. So here pretty quickly it will wrap up. If you haven't entered into it already, you can definitely go to her group on Ravelry. Oh, here's another visitor. Come here. She just woke up. And check it out. But it's any fingering weight shawl is the knit-along. And so the Sugar Plum shawl and the Spindrift shawl are the ones that I entered. I had also entered into the Sugar Plum cowl. And they had, I believe, 3 or 4 winners for that. I think 3. I think one won a pattern, one won some yarn and a project bag and some goodies, and one got some yarn and some goodies. That was my first ever cowl, so it was just exciting to take a part in that and be involved. So that was great. Watch your finger. So that was good. That was fun. I enjoyed that, and I definitely want to participate more in the future. And if you watch the T-shirts and shawls podcast, or if you're interested in it, definitely go check her channel out and check out her group on Ravelry. She's actually voting right now for Q4 shawl topic or guideline or what have you. So there's like 1 skein projects or ones that have particular designs, or one that has cables, a fandom based shawl. So that's what I personally voted on because I would love to do bow ties. They're cool and have a reason to do it. So that's available right now. She's wrapping up the 3rd quarter one and going into the 4th quarter. So if you have a fingering weight shawl, check it out. Definitely enter it. And then stick around to see what the 4th quarter knit along will be. I'm trying to think of what else. That's been pretty much it, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. I really think that's about it for us lately, the past 2 weeks. Can you think of anything? What?
Well, okay.
Are you still waking up? Mm-hmm. Did we have a busy day today? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were sleepy, huh, Pumpkin? Do you like Mommy? Mm-hmm. You better say yes. So that is about it. I really don't think I can't think of anything else. I think this weekend I'm pretty much just going to work on the cowl a lot. And start probably really plotting out Christmas. I have it written down what everybody requested as far as what they wanted, whether it was slippers, a hat, a scarf, you know.
Jolly Mommy.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to start looking at patterns and then pick the pattern that I like and then see what yarn I need. And then I'll know what to look for specifically, what weight, the amount, the color, when I go, oh, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, not right now. I am in the bathroom, so guess what was about to happen just off camera. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up since somebody needs to go. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me know what you're working on. Is there a podcaster that you really like? Are you a podcaster? Let me know. What are you working on for Christmas? What did you finish up? Have you gotten new yarn in your stash? Let me know because I love all of that stuff. I really, really do. So I'm going to go work on this cowl, hopefully, while everybody's kind of quiet and mellow. We wait to hear if there's a birthday party to go to. So, oh, and we get to go to another birthday party this week. So, and I think I might do some vlogs in between. Hold on. I think I'm going to do some vlogs in between podcasts so you can just kind of see what life is like at my house and trying to fit in knitting. It's fun. Anyway, y'all take care. Can't wait to see y'all again in 2 weeks. Bye.